sat down with him, said that a lot of his congregation, they're aging out, needed somewhere to go. A lot of the younger generation was getting priced out of the market, needed somewhere to go. They had this land and parking lot. However, they signed a deal with a developer, and the developer is stringing them on. They cannot do anything with the development of their land because of that. Welcome to Develop by Faith. Yeah, so I just want to take this out, man. We actually swap today. Yeah, I know it's crazy. I just want to point that out because I know normally I'm on that side, but today Odell was like, Key, I'm gonna sit over here, you sit over there. And I'm like, okay. Odell's normally he's the boss. I just listen to what he does.
I'm sitting in the big boy seat, so it's all good. It's all good. All right.
But y'all, we want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to watch our videos and speak with us on all this. It means a lot to us.
Yes.
But furthermore, it means a lot to your community, your congregation, the people that live in your community, the people that have never even stepped foot on your land, but yet that live around you. Because I will say, I know seeing, I'm from Charlotte. I love Charlotte. I remember when I saw Charlotte, and Charlotte was a little teenager. And then Charlotte hit puberty. Then Charlotte got grown on us.
When did 77 come about? When did that? Because I'm from Greensboro, and I came in from Greensboro, now live in Rock Hill, and 77 is a beast, man. 77 just ain't right.
It's not. It's not. 77, 85, 485, 277, those people from Charlotte, you pretty much know what I'm talking about. But it's so important that when you look at all these different inhabitants of transportation, when you have the schedule of, okay, this highway's going here, this highway's going there, it's being able to understand what is the highest and greatest use for buildings and structures as it pertains to how to get from point A to point B. And I think a lot of times what we miss the mark on is that sometimes people don't have vision. And I feel that a lot of pastors out there may have the vision, but don't have the support to really help them out with the situation. And that kind of brings us back to this point, the affordability crisis for one, and wanting to do something about it. Odell, you kind of, you and your organization with your project, you guys did a great job of actually stepping up and having that need in the community and showing up when you look at the retirement homes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Could you speak a little bit about your whole experience about seeing all that land, seeing all that parking lot space, right? And where were you when you first started? It gave you the idea to be able to do that, and what ways that you knew that you were not going to do it? Because I know when we talk a lot, you always say, there's three pillars. This, and this.
Right.
We ain't going to do these, or we going to make sure these are done and met, and how you were able to have the vision and carry it out as successfully as you have.
Well, again, thank you for that compliment. But it's one of those situations where a lot of pastors, he and she, he or her, have a lot of faithful people, loyal people around them. But sometimes those faithful and loyal leaders don't always have the expertise to do certain things. Yes, they love pastor, they love the church, they're loyal, and all that's good. But sometimes, in addition to people being loyal, you need to bring in some individuals who have a certain expertise. And I always say, people know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know. Case in point, when you talked about the vision of the land and the three things, of course, don't sell the land, the church not going to go into debt, and it's going to be a business to bring revenue back to the church. I got that from the leadership of the church. The leadership of the church will tell you what's the vision and how to do it. And they're like, okay, this is what we need done. So they knew what they knew, but they didn't know what they didn't know. And they didn't fight me when they brought my company in to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And I run it by them. Hey, we need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do this. And they're like, okay, we didn't know that. So the issue comes in. I have a perfect example. I have another, I have a lot of churches I work with. I have this one church, and I said, hey, we need to look at bringing in a separate entity from this. And it's like, no, we got this. And they were right. As a church, they have a certain status, a certain qualification. And I wasn't arguing that point. I was saying, no, but what you're doing is what we're going to call, unrelated business income. So that requires something different. No, we're going to do it. And deacon of church, good guy, probably been in the church for generations. But he didn't know what he didn't know. But he knew what he knew. He knew just enough. But it surprised me sometimes when certain entities or certain individuals and entities want to be the expert on everything. None of us are expert on everything.
Yeah.
So that's when you have to put on your pastor hat and talk softly and explain to people, because you don't want to embarrass anyone.
No, not
you don't want to make an enemy, because a lot of times when you bring in an expert to a situation, the leadership may feel threatened. Why did pastor bring in Odell? Why did pastor bring in Key? We know how to do this, but you don't.
Yeah.
You know how to do some of it, and if we work together, we can get it all done. It's almost like what you say all the time when you bring in a developer and you allow the developer to take the steering wheel and drive the car, and you're in some situation where the developer has signed the contracts, and I'm working through one of this now with the churches. Boy, I tell you what, Holy Spirit is right on time. Working with one of them right now where the developer signed a contract with the church. The developer didn't really do the things he or she said they were going to do. And now all of a sudden the church has a contract. It's like, what do we do, Odell? So now we're coming in and helping navigate through all that, trying to make everybody whole, even though everybody don't want to be whole, because you're so, pastors, I understand you're excited about your vision. I understand all this, but you got to pump your brakes. You got to slow down and make sure you understand what you're getting ready to sign. And if you don't understand it, it's no shame in your game to say, let me get some other people to look at this first. There's nothing wrong with you putting your ego aside, in all due respect, and say, I don't fully understand what this wording means. Lawyer talk is real. One pastor tells me, I'm working with him, he says, Odell, you talk the language.
You do. He does speak the language.
You talk the language. And at first, I didn't know what he meant.
Yeah.
I've been going from South Carolina. I'm an old geeky from down in the low country. And he's like, you talk the language. You know what they're talking about. But he had enough humility in him to say, I'm an excellent preacher. I'm an excellent pastor, but I don't know a thing about the soil. I don't know a thing about the composition. I don't know any of that, Odell, so I'm trusting you. But trust and verify. Proof of concept. That's the key, because that's the key. That's the key. But it's one of those situations like, well, they look like they know what they're doing.
Yep.
What does that mean? Let's break that down, because you're sitting here talking about the parking lot and Payday and affordable housing and affordable for the people. What does they look like mean? Do we look like we know what we're doing? Don't get caught up on how someone looks or how someone talks. Don't get caught up on that. Say, show me the proof. Like the lady used to say in the Wendy's commercial, where's the beef?
Yeah.
Show me the proof. Show me what you've done, not what you're talking about doing. Let me go and look at this project. Let me go talk to people you've worked with. Show me the proof. We call it proof of concept. What say you, my friend?
No, I agree. You're in line with everything. We can solve
Except for I'm not better looking than you, right?
Odell, man, we joke like this, y'all. We joke like this all the time. I want to like kind of dive in on the pitfalls of this, because it's so important. See, you were fortunate enough to have a team to know that, hey, we need help. And, one of my other good pastor friends always says that the pitfall of the pulpit is the pastor's pride. And
Can you say that again? Can you say that for the people in the back row?
yeah, the pitfall of the pulpit is the pastor's pride. And when you look at that, right, and understand that you might have the vision, you may want to move forward with something, but you may not have all the right pieces.
Yeah.
And not saying that you can't do something.
Right.
It just helps to make sure that you can do it. I always look at like how people pick a friend. I feel that a lot of times nowadays we pick people that we like or people that like us. And you remember when you were kids, you play basketball. When you was kids and you would play, a game of basketball, you and your friends.
On the
You had two captains.
Yeah.
And you might not like, Jeffrey over there, but Jeffrey, he a good big man.
Yeah.
And you need Jeffrey to win.
Right.
You're going to pick Jeffrey.
Because we want to play all day.
We want to play all day.
If you lose,
you gotta
you sit down and wait for somebody else. Who's next? So yeah, because you when it's important to you, then like and respect are two different things. I always tell people you don't have to like me, but you have to respect what I bring to the table. Because the proof of concept, and I know I say that all the time, but others say the proof is in the pudding. You have to be able to deliver because it's so much going on right now. In every church I've ever worked with, the pastor in his quiet moments or her quiet moments will say, I have some people who are for me, and I have some people who are against me. And I have a lot of people on the fence just watching. So I understand that. I've worked in church 30 some odd years. I know church, like 1, 2, 3, ABC. I know church. And I definitely know black church.
Yeah.
I know us. I know us. So the whole idea of how do you communicate to avoid these pitfalls that you're talking about is communication. And knowing that you're going to get, I stand in front of churches and they just try to rip me apart. And it's not me personally. It's that they don't want this to go forward. Why? I don't know. Because a lot of times there's history there, but at the same time, you want to convince those who are doubters that it's okay to doubt. You're a doubter. You doubt it. You doubt your pastor. You doubt your leadership. That's okay. It's okay that you doubt. You have whatever reasons to doubt. It's my job to come in and show you the plan, show you what the leaderships want me to show you, and go from there. Now, if you still doubt, that's fine too. But all I ask is be fair.
That's it.
If once I could prove to you that this is how it's going to work, the money is here and the money's coming from there and the land's going to be this, and we bring in financiers, we bring in developers, we bring in people who are qualified and you get to Google them and check them out, then just be fair. Because at the end of the day, if we deliver, we delivered.
I'm glad you said that. This just struck a memory for me. Me and another partner of mine, you know this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say his name on camera, but we was brought in to consult this nonprofit that has housing. They had about five different properties. All together, they had about around 800 units. And 3 of the major properties out of the 5 needed to be redone, right? And they didn't understand about Chodos. There was a nonprofit. They didn't understand about Chodos. At one point in time, there was a Chodo community housing development in the area.
Yes.
We consulted them on that. We consulted them on how to be structured and all this other good stuff. And the CEO of this nonprofit kind of lets us know now. We already signed, paperwork and everything. And he said, hey, I wanted to let you know that we kind of have an issue. I was like, well, what's the issue?
Yeah.
We signed with the developer 3 years ago.
Right.
For a 15-year term.
Right.
And we're very frustrated because they haven't done anything. We've raised capital and we paid them. And we gave them the land so they can raise capital on that. Right. And they still haven't done anything yet.
Right.
And we asked for the contract.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot.
We went over the contract and I'm like, you guys, this is like a master development deal.
Right.
Per this contract, you can't even talk to us.
Right.
We can't even consult you to help you do it. And, kind of give you guys some context. We were brought in to help them out with doing affordable housing and building smaller houses, and be able to do supporter services. And that supporter services is a whole nother episode. We will go all deep inside that and why that is important. We were contracted out to do that with them, and they paid us, but them bringing us in to do that, it breached their contract with this other developer. So we tried to talk to get a meetings of the minds of all parties involved, and the developer's like, no, I don't want to work with nobody else. You signed a contract with us, and we'll let you know when we're ready, when we're finished raising capital. Now, here's the thing. They're, two of the 5 properties had lead-based paint, asbestos, all these other different things. We reached out to our contact at the EPA to be able to work to sort through, to get monies and
to mitigate it.
To mitigate it.
To mitigate it,
to do all that. We've already had all these things kind of working towards, but because of that contract, when we actually saw the contract, we talked to the developer, they wasn't willing to amend that. They said no. Now, they were already 3 years in. Odell, that's been probably about 4 years ago altogether, and they still haven't done anything, not built new houses, not take care of the old housing developments that they had.
Right.
I mean, they just sat on it. And sometimes, when you are the head person, a lot of pressure is on you. You have to make sure that you make the right decision. And what we're saying is, these things happen, reaching out, raising a hand, saying, hey, I need help, whether it's us or whoever it is, right? Raising your hand, saying that, hey, I may need help with this, because when I first read that contract that he sent me after he got us on the contract, he paid us, we were good, we started working. He said, oh yeah, by the way, I got this contract I want y'all to look at or whatever. And he didn't kind of dress it up like I already signed with a developer. Right. We asked that question first. Are you working with a developer? Who you working with? He completely omitted this person, altogether, this company altogether. And when we read the contract, we said, hey, it says here in the contract in section, blah, 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 like you can't do X, Y, Z. And it was like, oh yeah, da-da-da. I'm like, well, who looked at it for you? You say, oh, we had an attorney look at it. When we looked at the attorney, Odell, this was a, one of those attorneys you see on the billboard getting a wreck or whatever. Right. Not saying that the guy didn't do a good job, but this wasn't his lane.
Right. Wasn't his expertise.
It wasn't his expertise. And they just kind of used what they had. However, having someone who does this all the time, who speaks and is very resourceful, and it just kind of made it a little daunting for them, because here's the thing. That CEO, right, they have like roughly 800-900 housing units. Majority of them can't be used, or they're not safe for people to go into, because someone didn't raise their hand and said, hey, I need someone who can help guide me through this, who has results. So when I said at the beginning of this is that your community thanks you, yes, your community is looking at you saying, how can you help bring resources to the community with the resources that you already have? And I think what you said earlier about going back to the results and being able to say, hey, a track record, seeing that, hey, this is being done, seeing that, hey, I might not know everything, I might need help with this. And I want to put this back on you, Odell, because you've done a great job with being a resource for your development that you're doing. Yeah. And you guys can read all about that. We'll make sure we have the link below for the Business Journal, where you can read about what they are doing and get all that information. But going back to, we talk about the 3 things. Like, you stayed true to that, and you held on your guns for that, but you got counsel to help you with the structuring, so that you can say, these 3 things have to be in place. Right. Could you talk a little more about that, like dive into that?
Well, I think so, to the point of the situation, the unfortunate situation that you all had, or the entity hadn't brought you in. A lot of times transactions are what I call transactional, meaning that you go to the store and you buy a soda and you pay them $1 and they give you a soda and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a customer.
Mm-hmm.
But what I try to do is, instead of a transactional relationship, a transformative relationship, meaning that you come to the store, you buy a soda, we talk, we get to know each other, and now all of a sudden you're not a customer, you're a client. So I look at what I do as ministry. So yes, I get paid for it, but I look at it as ministry. And I believe that God has given me the gift of administration. That's in the Bible. We talk about teaching, preaching, but gift of administration is in there too. So when I go to a person, an individual, I go to it like it's ministry. It's a church, right? So the last thing I want to do is stand before God and he says to me, Odell, why didn't you do this, X amount of years ago? Because I think I'm going to be held accountable for everything I do. So with that being said, when you say they don't want to sell the land, fine. Say, we don't want the church to go into debt because we worked on the church. The church is debt-free, client I'm talking about, and I was a part of that. I was part of that church for 40 years. And the fact that we want to build a model on economic development, legally, it could go back and help the church out. We've done that too.
Okay.
So it's ministry for me. I'm no better, no worse than anybody else, but I look at it as ministry, not just a job and not just getting a paycheck. That's not it. And I'm not saying that was this situation, but the idea of sitting on God's people's land and you just locked it all up. Now, some of that blame or accountability, might be better than blame, has to go on the leadership who signed the contract. Now, you know, it's interesting. Growing up broke in Charleston, South Carolina, we only had lawyers when someone got in trouble. We talked about this before.
Yep.
Now, as the president, founder, and CEO of a company, I spend more time talking to lawyers about business deals, transactions, governmental regulations, and everything else, just to make sure we get it right.
Yeah.
You know, when you start talking about unrelated business income, and we have to fall back into that 990T exempt form, that's just getting it right. I don't believe in shortcuts. So if you want to hire us, we're not going to do shortcuts. We're not going to do that. It's interesting. People talk about writing grants. One of the things that I have here is a copy of my certificate, charitable solicitation license.
Well, what is that? A lot of people are like, oh, that goes over my head. What is that?
Yeah, charitable solicitation license is the fact that if you're going to be fundraising in the state of North Carolina to a certain level, you need a license from the state. From the state to give you a license that says, you know, we grant, you know, the ability and you have the right to go out and raise funds. You're like, well, how do you mean? Yes, the state has to say that you're doing this thing legally. Now, why would the state have to come and give someone a license to do certain things? Because the bottom line is you don't need a license to drive.
No.
You don't even need a license to go fishing or hunting. I'm a hunter, outdoorsman. You don't need a license to do all that until what?
You need a license.
Until you get caught.
Yep.
You could drive without a license all day.
Yeah.
Until you get pulled over. And what's the first thing they say when they pull you over?
License and registration.
License and registration, please. I don't have a license. Oh, we got a problem. So all I'm trying to say is we don't want problems. Many people say, you know, Odell, I'll cross that bridge when we get there. I say I don't want to see any bridges. And let me explain. We're going to do all the things necessary so we don't have a bridge to cross.
Yeah.
We're going to work through these things. We're going to use best practices. We're going to use proven record. And I know you're so tired of me saying proof of concept, but that's all I have. Check the receipts. Check what we've done. That's the key. So all this stuff about didn't understand the contract, didn't understand how I got the church land all locked up. That's why the people are doubtful. Like doubting Thomas. And I understand them because for me, I went in one church and you said, hey, X amount of years ago, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And like I said before, I told them, listen, I'm the new boyfriend. All that happened with the old boyfriend. and I understand the drama and trauma the old boyfriend is real, but I cannot allow you to put that on me.
Yeah.
Be skeptical. Watch me with 2 eyes, 4 eyes, whatever, and make sure I'm doing what I need to do. But what I ask is just be fair. Be fair. When I come in and I'm doing all the things right, I'm being transparent, I'm being open. Just don't try to beat me up because you're mad at the old boyfriend. Have you ever been an old boyfriend, Key?
I have. And it's like, hey, so-and-so used to do the X, Y, Z. That's why I'm like, but I didn't do that. Like, that wasn't on me.
Right.
That you're taking all of that and blaming me. But I will say this. There's red flags
Yeah, definitely.
and there's green flags.
Right?
And, you're the project, biggest client, 65 acres, just massive. Just massive. Have all these resources there. One of the things I want to point out too is the need. A lot of times we don't do what's called a market study. We just automatically say, I want to do this. Well, is it there? Do you really need to do that? Is that going to make the highest and best use? Are you going to get a pushback from that? Is there different things that's in the zoning that will cause you not to be able to do that? We spoke about you guys having the medical offices, and this was being the first medical facility in that community for over 100 years.
Yes.
You had to do a market study about that. A lot of folks, like, you talk about the retirement home. Let's
Yes.
talk about that. Let's dive in on that, because I think affordable housing, you have all these people that can't live around the church because they can't afford it, because a lot of times these churches now, they're in prime time real estate.
But it wasn't at first. To your point, it wasn't at 1st. It shows the migration of the demographics. So you're absolutely correct.
So you saw the demographics change, right? You saw the cost of living go up, and you saw the seniors that had a set pay, and their pay stayed the same while everything kept rising. Can you talk about, how you guys came to the conclusion of saying, hey, we want to offer senior housing? I'm gonna tell you one thing about Odell. Odell, he don't do if he's behind it, it's gonna be nice. Yeah. Nice is a standard. Fabulous is how I would say the whole design and everything of how you guys have everything up, because he wanted to build something and develop something that he will live in.
Right. It's interesting. This client, and again, client, not customer, this client said, we want nice quality housing for the majority elderly, retiring, active seniors who were professionals, college grads, what have you. And they wanted something nice. So they wanted obtainable housing. They wanted market rate housing. It wasn't subsidized housing, and nothing wrong with subsidized housing. The next client may say, we want subsidized low-income housing. This client said that's not what they wanted, because a lot of times, a lot of money spent on subsidized low-income housing. But what happened to the person who graduated from HBCU? What happens to the folks who said, you know what, I want a facility where the Divine Nine, we have plots out in the yard, all kind of things.
Yeah.
So when you design it the way you want it. So just because I'm 70 years old, I might want to go sit on the Kappa's plot over here.
Yeah.
Because the same thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that in Greensboro, which North Carolina A&T State University, one of the largest HBCU in the world, that was a constant theme there.
Yep.
You have a lot of elderly folks who graduated from A&T and Bennett College and Winston-Salem State and all these schools who migrated, and they live in Greensboro, who says, you know what? I want to retire in something that looks like me. I want statues in the courtyard that I can relate to. I want colors in the bar or in the restaurant there. I want things like that because I can afford those things.
Hold on. So let's back a little bit. Let's back a little bit.
Right.
So okay.
What threw you off, the bar?
Yeah. The bar, the restaurant, like
inside the senior living housing?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle. Right.
And you want something that, hey, I can actually see myself living here, being here, feeling good, having a good time, playing Pekino or
Socialization.
socialization.
I might even be in there 70 years old, lost my wife, lost my husband, and I meet somebody else.
Yeah.
A socialization.
Yeah.
Who are us to tell seniors how they should live?
Yeah.
They grown people. And so in a lot of cases, you have a wine bar inside the senior, not rec center, but in there. They said build it in there, put it in there, Odell.
So the senior said this.
Yeah, the seniors, you ask a senior, what do you want? You
Okay.
act like people quit drinking wine when they're what?
55.
Come on, Key.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, you're right.
I mean, let's not put our own bias, prejudice, and stereotypes on how somebody else is going to live.
Yeah, you're right.
So if I come to you and I ask the question, whatever church, whatever entity, how do you want to design someone's living space? I would suggest to you that you go to the potential individuals who will be living there and ask them. We've had listening sessions, and that's what we get back.
Yeah.
We get back. We want socialization.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to sit down and drink a glass of wine with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
We want security. We want accessibility to things. We would like to have a bus that comes and pick everybody up and take them over to the home game at A&T. We would like to be able to walk to our church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all that kind of stuff. We would like to have a healthcare facility right there so that we could get in a golf cart and drive over to the healthcare facility, like we stated before, so we don't have to depend on someone else to take time away from their job to take us to go see the doctor.
You know, there's this community I like here. It's in Indian Lands called Sun City.
Okay.
Sun City, I helped a client buy and live there one time. And I remember, like, I'm very personable with my clients. Like, I get to know my clients really well, and I become like a member of the family. So I remember going down there and, like, hanging out with them. They retired, sold their house, downsized, whatever.
That's a big deal. Baby boomers are downsizing every day. So you're absolutely right.
And the active, like, they are so active in that community. Like, they were active before, you know, they would kind of just be at home and, you know, do little things around the house. Damn near.
Yeah.
They got the golf cart.
Yeah.
They go everywhere. They play pickleball. They play golf. Husband real big on golfing. He's part of a group down there that golf. They go, the wife does Pekino.
Yeah.
They go like every Thursday they'll go to each other houses and rotate and host and such. They have card tournaments. They have all these different things that they do. Is always something. It's almost like an adult theme park living space for seniors down there when you think about that. So when we talk about how to shape this all out, Pastor, it comes from the first thing, making sure you write for the structure, right? Second thing, you know, get all your players in place. Third thing is the vision and how to do it. And Odell, you've done it such a great job of doing it.
I didn't. The Bible says, have the vision, write it down.
Mm.
And so those who see it will run. A lot of times people interpret that you write the vision there, run away from the vision, like afraid of it. But the older I get, I realize they will run to get their hands busy to work to make the vision a reality. They will run to get the work done. If you ask seniors how you want to live the next chapter of your life, we call it the fourth quarter. How do you want to live the fourth quarter? I've done I've raised the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've paid for this big old house I have that half the house I don't even live in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have new friends and communities, maybe not few new additional friends. I would love to go somewhere where they're playing Pinochle? The game they play? Pekino, sorry. Pekino. I play bidwits and spade.
Okay.
You know, so if they do that, I would love that. If I want to sit down and have a glass of wine, because remember, Jesus turned water into wine.
Yeah, he did.
So come on now, let's take some of that foolishness out of it. You can't tell grown people how to live in the house that they're paying for.
No, you're right.
You can't do that.
You're right.
Because you can't tell young people how to live in the house that they ain't even paying for. Their mama them paying for it when they send them to college.
Yep.
So just reimagine, what does aging look like? And to the pastors, I know this is a lot, but consider it like when you're driving in the wintertime, and we'll close with this, black ice. Just because you don't see the ice could be very dangerous. So when you sign these contracts or being presented a contract, I know you're excited. I know you're in a hurry. I know they look good. I know you think this is it. But just remember black ice, because when you hit that road and don't understand black ice, some very unfortunate things could happen. So slow down a little bit, allow us, or if not us, somebody to come in and evaluate the contract that you're being presented. And then if the contract doesn't satisfy all your needs, let's renegotiate the contract so that you have an out, that in X amount of time, if this developer hasn't done this, then that frees everybody else from the contract. That's what the lawyers who I deal with says.
Yeah.
Because that's the key, because this thing you're talking about is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That for 15 years?
15 years. Yep. And two, if you have the vision and you're not sure how to get it started, we've executed. We've have the track record. We can show you. We can sit down. We can give you a free 30-minute call. Let's put your vision out there and see how we can pull everything together with that. And whether you guys decide to work with us or whoever the case is, definitely get counsel. Counsel is very important.
Yes.
To be able to guide you through this whole process. And another thing too, this is not going to happen overnight. I had a big time developer friend, guys, always on Fox News, always on CNN, everywhere. Does a lot of big projects. I remember talking to him about a project he has here, and the media was saying all this stuff on it. So I called him and talked to him and asked him about it. And he said, "Oh man, we're good. We got that," or whatever. And he was explaining to me that sometimes the people that are in charge, right, they may not understand how the industry is done. And I say that because there was a town I was working with doing building some houses there, right? And the person who was over all economic development didn't own a house, didn't just a lot, didn't it was a disconnect. And he got that job simply because his mom was friends with the mayor.
Well, let me say this. For those of us who've built a house before, I've built 2 houses. It's easier to move a wall while it's part of a blueprint than to move that wall once it's built. But then it's easier to move it once it's built and it's framed up from once it's sheetrocked up and everything else. So I say all that to say, put the work in on the front end. I had a pastor tell me that I say it. I had a pastor who told me that his home church, they were going to build an extension, and they went out and spent, he wasn't there, but $500,000 in steel. I know. Somehow somebody in the church leadership said, we need to go out and buy all the steel for the church. And then when they finally brought a contractor in, the contractor said, I can't use any of the stuff you already purchased. So they had $500,000 steel just sitting out there, and I'm sure they probably sold it for, say, $200,000 something. I don't know. So, but you lost $300,000. But more importantly, you gave the doubters a reason to continue to doubt what you're doing. And I'm not mad at the doubters. We welcome the doubters. We welcome the doubters. We welcome those who are on the fence, who said, let me see what's going to happen. And then we welcome those who are always a cheerleader. But even our cheerleaders, there's nothing the pastor says wrong. The pastor don't need a bunch of yes people around him or her all the time. I understand loyalty. However, if you're not competent, and that's not bad, in certain things that you're being asked to do, reach out and get some help. Because you're not doing the pastor, him or her, any good by being loyal, but being incompetent. then you end up signing contracts or telling him and her to sign something that you don't fully understand. Be loyal enough to know what you know, but also know what you don't know. Last words, my friend.
Click the link below this video. Do our assessment. Let us help you out with that. The biggest thing, Odell, is, vetting a developer is like dating with a ring on it. And
Whoa. You mean like a wedding ring?
Like a wedding ring. Yes.
So if this developer said we're getting engaged and you said for years he put a ring on it, but we never set a wedding date. Oh, I can relate to that. Everybody can understand that. You've been engaged for 20 years.
20 years. No kind of commitment, no moving forward. You just getting strung along. And then now you have, to Odell's point, more of the doubters. Even though, and when you're really working with someone, right, who really can help you get your vision from here to actually out here and being built, it's going to take time. Development takes time. It's not it's not a 1-2 year thing. It may be a couple of years. It might be a decade, depending on how big the project is.
But it's going to happen.
But it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Versus, hey, I'm going to tie you up and string you along. And, hey, we're going to put your pulpit as the means of, if something was to happen, you all are liable, not me, the developer.
Wow.
See, when you fill this out, reach out, we can make sure we give them our developer scorecard to ensure you partner with a kingdom capable partner.
But it's interesting you said this, and I don't want this point that you said is so important. The contract cannot read that the church is liable for everything. No, the contractor is liable. And I know that don't seem like much, but it does. It's a big deal. And the whole idea of understanding the contract, guys, you have to understand what you're signing. You have to understand what you're signing. And if you don't understand, we could help you understand. Whether you use us or not, we could help you understand, because you said something. You said the pastor's pride or something. What did you say your friend said? And we'll end on that.
It's the pastor's pride. So let me go back. The pulpit. It slipped my mind. It just slipped my mind. It slipped my mind. It's the P. It's like the 5 Ps.
Okay.
The pulpit. We gotta go back and look.
So the pastor's pride. I'm gonna paraphrase it.
Yeah. I can't think of what
the pastor, he or she. Your pride will get in the way of making a sound decision, because one didn't humble themselves enough to say, you know what, I don't understand that. Because sometimes in the church, people will put the pastor, he or she, on a pedestal. And that's not good. That's not fair. But it's not good leadership for the pastor, he or she, to say, I know what I'm talking about. Follow me as I follow Christ. But you don't know what you're talking about here. You know a lot of things, sir. You know a lot of things, ma'am. But you don't know what you don't know. Let others help you so you can continue to be the leader that God has called you to be.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. The biggest thing, share, and fill out the link below. We will make sure someone from our team will be able to be in contact with you and schedule a free call with us to help bring and make your vision into a reality. This is Developed by Faith. Thank you guys again for tuning in.